Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, beautiful souls. This is just another invitation to discover and realize your true self and to set yourself free with that. It's an invitation to detox your soul. And very soon I will publish a video which is telling a little bit actually about the advantages this has to have that realized to a certain degree, how it sets you free, means how free you truly are. Guided meditation. Detox your soul. Give space to yourself every day and connect to your true self. Silence. I like silence so much, as opposed for myself as well as a teaching method. And what I see when I'm quiet and present in front of a people or a group that's present, it's kind of like you would be able to see the songs that are playing over the ethers. The radio stations, you can see all their streams. And there's a channel for everyone. That is the unique channel, and it's constantly pouring down. And the radio, you can tune into it or not, if you don't like. You can receive it or you cannot, as you like. But by being present and by being quiet, you begin to naturally, it might be uncomfortable at first, there's a few hums. You can feel people or yourself be quite uncomfortable after a busy, hectic day or a few months of it or a few years of it. Depending on how often you take silence to cleanse yourself, you will find it's quite confronting to be silent, to be quiet, especially if you're in the presence of others who are able to maintain that presence. It will be amplified then even more. So, if you can, try looking into my eyes directly. If you can maintain that, don't force yourself. That way, you so to say receive a free Reiki. Yeah, it's like being in a room where many people are, very, very tuned to the radio station that's coming through for them. So there's this full orchestra of harmony, of resonance, of power, literally power, coming forth, going through and to be touched in a group like that. Or even in front of one person like that. If they are able to really hold that space, it can be the shoveling at first, can be a little uncomfortable because you're going to face yourself. All the falsities that you build up every day. You know all the context, all the assumptions, all the baggage, all the other people's energies, all the cares, or concerns, or the judgments, and insecurities, and this perversion that you carry with you along your day. Inevitably being part of a human civilization, to then suddenly be stopped in your tracks. It's like those negative G-forces, when a fast screen suddenly comes to a halt. It's like going on, and so you have to face yourself. You see yourself, you notice yourself. You don't notice if you have a body, if everything goes, in this case, a body of knowledge, a body of information, a body of energy, a body of emotion. And suddenly, that comes to a stop in the clear space. And you suddenly notice that you have such a body baggage. And it's good, therefore, to come together in the presence of the Creator, in the presence of life itself, of pure existence, and to let that baggage unwind itself. Because otherwise, we're just talking from our head. There's no heart, there's no soul, there's no song coming through. There's this beautiful symphony that wants to come forth. But because we lack, generally speaking, we lack in awareness and attentiveness, quietude. Quietude means to an end, in a way. Quietude is a means to awareness, to gain self-knowledge, true self-knowledge, not the conceptual kind of true direct, the true direct images of experience. Experiencing that of being so. It's good to come together in this space so that our radios can be tuned to this that naturally happens. We're always picking up each other's vibes. It's inevitable. We are all empaths. You can close yourself off to this. You can believe it's all your own stuff. But we are constantly resonating, and more so as a vibration globally is opening up. There's less and less of a barrier between one being and the next. The higher the frequency, the closer is the vibration of unity, of oneness. And so the barriers and the walls that previously could keep transparency at bay are dissolving, the veils are thinning worldwide. This is a planetary cosmic development as well as a sociological collective development, but it's very secondary. To be forced into this transparency by the nature of the vibratory upgrade, if you will, that's happening. And so we are forced to become transparent. We are forced to face ourselves. In that negative G-force space of suddenly coming to a halt, suddenly being confronted with who we are or who we thought we've been for so long. Give space to yourself every day, even if it's 10 or 20 minutes every day. Find a nice spot in nature, on your deck, on your patio, in your living room, in your bed, laying down, whatever is most comfortable for you. And at least once a day, just take a moment. Unwind. Take a moment to unwind. Just come to a stop. To see who you are. You can't see who you are unless you stop. You can only think who you are, which is the opposite of seeing who you are. When you stop, you get to see who you are, know who you are, be who you are, which is a very powerful statement, but it's very scalable. Understanding is be as you are. It's very scalable. Meaning, I can tell a random, quite unquote, ordinary person on the street to be as they are, and for them that means just continue thinking what they're thinking, believing they're politicians, believing this much money in their bank account, on their way to the job, having a wife, 2 kids. That is to be who you are, as they are, for them. But the purer you become within, meaning the more distilled, the more still, the more frequently you stop to directly see yourself, you find that stroke becomes more and more empty. It becomes more and more like a mirror, more and more like, still like reflecting the beauty. There's less and less of a personality. There you can still choose to operate through a personality, and you can even change it. But the identity with it disappears the more frequently you actually stop, break out of this. And part of this is because, in truth, in direct experience, there is no linear time. This is a complete fabrication of thought. There is no proof in any direct experience that there is something such as linear time. But the continuity of your thought, your mind-filtered delusion, make you believe this perception of linear time. Stop. Choose your silence. Interrupt the flow of thought for seconds, for minutes, sooner or later, maybe even for hours, regularly, frequently, more often, more important, frequently, often during the day. So every half an hour, take a break, 2 to 5 seconds, rest in pure awareness. Stop. Let go of all your wanting and all your knowledge, all of you want to know, all you want to be right with. Just silence. Become comfortable in the not knowing. All safe, all secure there. All beneficial. In this way, you break the illusion of linear time. You begin to see through it. You become aware of what's real and how beautiful and pure and perfect it is. So, the only way you maintain your sense of being, this separate, individual, self-sense of I, with a history and a past and a memory, is to repeat the thought over and over and over and over again. This happens all the time, consciously and unconsciously. Because if you interrupt that for long enough, the linearity of it will start to drop away, will start to deconstruct itself. When you do not have the assumption that there's a linear time, your assumed identity falls away, and be as you are starts to upscale real quick. And by upscaling I mean it gets closer to the frequency of God, who you are, of existence itself. Satchitananda, as the yogis say, bliss, body, pure existence, pure consciousness, bliss. Bliss becomes available all the time. The universal being, the universal self. Just there's not many people on a day-to-day basis that remind us of this silence, that remind us this time. So it's good to remind yourself. You need a little bit of discipline. Get to sense when you're going crazy, and it's much sooner than you think. And the more sensitive you become, the sooner you see that. You already went too far. Too far into what? Too far into concept, really. Too far into talk. If we want to stay true and authentic, we need to understand that there's a difference between running away with talk and concept. And it can be fun to create. But it's like playing with a substance. But a substance is not really what you are. So you're just playing with the substance, like a child playing with sand, building sandcastles, dissolving sandcastles, and there's no rigidity to any of that. Play, joyfully play. This is how it's supposed to be. So, if anything, use concept for the purpose of creating, for sharing the benefit, and play, joyfully play. But when it comes to your self-knowledge, that needs to transcend. Even that which you are doing as a creator. If your sense of self does not exceed or transcend or goes beyond the clay that you are playing with, then you will identify yourself with the things that you are doing and the outcome of the things. And you identify with your occupation or your creatorshipness. And that will still place you in a seat of insanity, which is like I'm separate from God, I am my own entity, separate from God, here I am, my body, there are the others, and everything else separate from me. I separate myself from others, from everything that is. I must fight, I must hide, I must defend myself, I must attack. I cannot show what I truly feel and think. I must hide my authenticity. I'm not enough. Nobody loves me. I need this, that, or that one for my well-being. He, she, or that is guilty of hurting me. He, she, or that is responsible for how I feel. But the more you stop, the more naturally God takes over. It's so beautiful. You just have to bear the discomfort long enough and God will take over. And this whole story that you had for the past so many months or years or however long it's been since you've actually stopped and paused and cleansed. It's a cleansing of the soul. It's the best type of fast. It's silence. Other fasts are secondary. The best and most healthy fast is to fast from the mind itself. It cleanses the soul, the mind, the body. It heals you from inside out, not just the emotional body, not just the mental body. This cleanses all the carried baggage. And it's uncomfortable when you've been carrying all this baggage, all this luggage. You don't really feel how heavy it is until you put down the baggage. You can go on, once you're running a marathon. There's no difference between 38 or 40 miles, huh? Only when you stop. This is why people fear this total stoppage. Because there's no clarity at first. There's no certainty there first. Clarity and security and feeling safe come when we stop long enough. Either you stop and face the discomfort, go over this mountain, this hump, this bump, go through this valley, brave, courageous. You must want it. So it's only when we fully stop long enough, either you're going to continue to stop and face the discomfort, go over that heap, that bump, that hump, go through that valley religiously, courageously, wanting it. Really, another word for courage is wanting it. If you want it, you have courage. If you don't really want it, you're going to appear like you don't have courage. But we are all courageous because we are all here. We all chosen to have this body. We all choose this planet Earth. As you choose planet Earth, so you're courageous by nature. There are, let's say, more pleasant places out there. It's just a matter of what you invest that courage in. In being invested in doubt or certainty or security, so all illusions. Or do you invest in your true self and the benefit of all, and realizing the God state within the third state? All the healing, all true healing, the healing of this world. Your healing can only come from there. There is no real alternative, just illusion. And so oftentimes this is why we need kind of retreats or longer periods of silence or fasting, or whatever it might be. Whatever the permission slip is that we need to put out yourself, that you need to put yourself in the state of detoxing your soul, it's very necessary. It's very necessary being part of this civilization, yes? It's very necessary. We are constantly inundated with frequencies, constantly inundated with vibrations. You know, from Wi-Fi to electrical cables, Bluetooth, whatever, 5G, to other people, especially, most of all, the collective consciousness. Most of all, that's the most entrancing, that's the most deluding, and that's the most suffocating. Why? Because it's very not obvious that it's not you. It seems to be you. Every day you wake up with the thoughts you think are yours. You feel things that you think are your feelings. So many of it, I'd say more than 90% of it, is not actually yours. So, it's important to have this awareness at some point. It really makes it easier here. Makes all here so much easier and enjoyable. And it's not a form of not taking responsibility for what you're feeling. It's just understanding that you're good to let go. Just let go. It's good to let these things go. They are not you. You're not letting go of yourself. Relax. You can't let go of yourself. It's impossible. If you let go of everything you're identified or attached to, or do you believe you know, the only thing that remains would be you. And the analogy for this is the body, or say the body of a monkey. It grabs onto a branch, and then it's onto the next branch. From here onto the next branch. And the nature of attachment and letting go usually is that we don't really let go of one branch until we have a firm grip on the next, which is just the nature how human psychology works. 90% of your time or of your energy you invest into security, isn't it? Think about that. Nevertheless, anything that we repeatedly imagine and are repeatedly told by others and repeatedly tell ourselves, especially this, will become our inner experience. Our inner experience becomes our outer experience. As a result of this limited edition of you, this limited version of you, being repeatedly imagined, you now fear letting go of that illusionary security. It's like holding a hologram and making it appear so real, and then beginning to realize that holographic nature of that hologram, that it lacks any substance, and any separation, any inner router. And this is all naturally is revealed through silence, through being inward, truly inward, restful. Everything that you are today, pretty much everything, is an expression of society. How many assumptions do you have today because of this contrast, this constant programming, this constant subliminal automatic messaging that's happening all the time? How many assumptions do you have about life? Who you are, why you are here, what you are supposed to do, and how much your everyday experience is, how much of it is direct knowledge, how much of it is direct experience of the self. So we could make a distinction between what you are and who you are. Who you are, who you express yourself to be in this moment. What you are is the changeless self. It's the source of all that is unchanged, naturally safe. The emptiness, the space from where all this projection arise and appear, this is the true self, the true inner self of all that is, which just so happens to be God, just so happens to be universal. Isn't it as well? This is taking a responsibility, so just a different way. Because you're consciously saying, none of this is mine. None of this belongs to me. None of this is guided by me. I give this up to Source, the Creator, which I know I am ultimately. But that only begins. That knowledge, that direct experience knowledge only begins to dawn. That you are one with the Creator begins to dawn in silence. What is silence? Silence isn't even so much silence. Doesn't mean that nothing necessarily has to arise. Just to be comfortably there, you have to be free of your knowing, your expectation. It means that there's no active attraction to anything, no forms or objects there. And your mind is conditioned to focus on objects, talk objects. But instead knowing yourself in that moment, being aware of the innermost sense of me, that which has never left you, will never leave you, that which does not change, it never changes. So to say, it's always present behind your eyes, before your eyeglasses of mental perception. Can you hold on, so to speak? Can you maintain God? We are all maintaining something all the time. You're maintaining a thought, an assumption of who you are, where you're at, where you're going to, what you need to do. But instead of maintaining all these ideas, you can consciously quiet down those assumptions to the point, can you? To the point where you can maintain God. It just needs a little bit practice, a little bit discipline, and I would love to guide you throughout conversation and creating a video, throughout talks. Can you maintain God? I know you can. It's not even a question of time. It's just a question of willingness. A little bit discipline, maybe with a little bit guidance if you need to. You can do this. You will do this anyway, sooner or later. But if you want to be free now, best time to start with it is always now. Can you feel the self that doesn't change? Being able to feel it, to begin to look onto it, and let everything else pass as it comes and goes. Let sensations be as they are. Let your voice be as it is. Let your thoughts be as they are. You maintain God, undistracted like a driver, undistracted by the windshield wipers on a rainy day. If humanity could commit just to that, just to something true with them, rather than chasing good and avoiding bad, this whole planet would transform itself overnight. On the physical level, on the outward level, just because we are connected to our soul, to our true being. And the only thing we need to be connected to source or to have is character, it's courage, it's faith. This means that we need the willingness, the faith, the courage to let our assumptions, our constant chasing of objects, sense objects, we need to take back that what we are and rest it back into what we actually are. Let who we are, let who we are take care of itself. More and more, let it flow. Let it happen. Don't hold it. Be blessed with love and light. Amazing, beautiful soul. Soon I publish a video here for what actually feelable, touchable, sensible advantages there are of having realized your true self to a certain degree, because I'm sure your mind is asking, what is this good for? Okay, I will tell you. Yeah? Means I talk about my own experiences, my own enjoyment, my own freedom with it, and my own healing journey that I do best. Means healing myself and those around me. My reflection. Much easier from there. you can and want to, please support our cause for spreading the message of love. Details for donating you find in the text above or below. See you in a moment. Thank you for being here with me. Stay tuned for the next video here. Thank you for being there. I enjoy and feel honored to travel with you together, sharing your life.